the roughly $50,000 collected by the property owner of Garden Green Apartments in North Hollywood, California, from both me and my parents from November 2007 through September 2013 were all illegally obtained. To obtain this money, they committed welfare fraud, bank fraud, money laundering, extortion, extortion across state lines, theft and fraud, and theft and fraud across state lines. And they forced me to continue to live in their apartment against my will by keeping an illegal rent increase from me for over 5 years. I contacted numerous government agencies concerning these crimes, and not one would respond to help me. And the LAPD even illegally forbade me from filing a criminal complaint. I was sued for eviction. I won my case, yet the judge herself refused to order a police investigation into these crimes. Upon my knowledge of the judge's finding in my favor, but not awarding me any monetary damages, and my landlord issuing a fourth 3-day pay or quit notice the very day after my court victory, followed by a second eviction court summons concerning these very same issues, I realized these predators weren't stopping. And no government agency was going to enforce the law and protect me from this landlord's crimes, abuse, and predation. If it weren't for my illnesses, I would have gladly gone at least one more round in court with these criminals. But I had it. I just wanted to get the hell out of there and decided to capitulate. So I informed my landlord's attorney I was moving. This attorney, Lawrence J. Feinberg, of the Feinberg Law Group in Encino, California, the same lawyer I had defeated in eviction court, wrote a stipulation in judgment order and promised to drop the second eviction case upon my compliance with the terms of this order. The order stated I would owe no more money towards the lease. A lease, by the way, that the landlord already violated, if I moved out by the last day of September 2013. Remember, I had no car. Finding another apartment on my own in this short of time was an extreme hardship, but I did it. But Withers, the manager of Garden Green Apartments, sabotaged my efforts. She lied by telling the managers of the new apartment complex that I owed them money, and I was initially rejected for this new apartment. Rejected from an apartment lease for the first time in my life. After contacting the managers of the new complex and saying, I told you not to contact those people, they are liars, and doesn't 14 years of residency count for anything? In contacting Feinberg, telling him they were violating the stipulation in judgment order, I finally got things straightened out and left that den of thieves, liars, and criminals at Garden Green Apartments. But they weren't done terrorizing me and my family. Their crimes against us weren't stopping. 3 months after I moved, my 83-year-old mom called me in a panic, saying she just received a call from a collection agency called Genesis Credit Management out of Washington State, claiming she owed $3,400 in back rent, apartment damage, cleaning, and attorney fees. I never even attempted to recover my deposit, and they pull this crap. I keep doing good things to these people, and they keep hurting me and my family. My mom, again, received nothing in writing, but said she was going to pay it. I said, "Don't you dare," and I called my brother for help in stopping them from paying Garden Green's extortion yet again. Surprisingly, my brother said he'd received a mysterious call from someone refusing to identify himself, saying my brother had to pay this money. And none of us ever received anything in writing about any of this. Even after my signing in complete compliance with the stipulation and judgment order, these predators, Moss and Company and their attorney Feinberg, weren't stopping their campaign of terror against me and my parents, and were now including my brother in their attacks. I'll tell you, Feinberg is the epitome of the shyster lawyer. Deceit, fraud, and harassment. He used every illegal and unethical trick in the book against me and my family. First of all, as an officer of the court, he had only one option upon hearing my original accusations against the landlord and Pacific Sun Management, and that option was to notify the police and demand an investigation. But he chose to attack me and cover up the crimes of the landlord and his previous management company. Also, as officer of the court, he is required by law to behave in good faith and see that his clients do likewise. He failed to do both. Chris Gray of Moss and Company told me Feinberg told him that lease co-signers were required to tell one another of lease changes, even if the lease change was never sent to the premises, and the co-signers being notified were lease guarantors and not co-residents. They never received anything in writing and lived off premises in an entirely different state. That was a lie. Feinberg refused to respond to any of my 8 letters I wrote to Moss and Company. He denied me my legal right to property owner contact information after 3 written requests. And he ignored my offer to petition the court together to determine the legality of Pacific Sun's actions. He even gave me, an unrepresented opponent, knowingly false legal advice in a courtroom settlement meeting just prior to court. He repeated what Chris Gray said he said and added, "Eviction judges always side with the landlord, and I don't stand a chance." He filed a lawsuit with absolutely no evidence or witnesses to support it. He had no proof of the claimed delivery of the rent increase notice, and no witnesses from Pacific Sun Management demonstrating his knowledge that their acts were criminal. He committed perjury when he claimed in court my parents' payments alone constituted a legal agreement, regardless of any extortion or fraud committed to get them to send those checks. He coached his only witness, Mrs. Withers, during judge's questioning, for which the judge admonished him. He committed perjury again and allowed Withers to do the same by claiming a receipt with no balance written on it meant there was a balance, and allowed her to lie about the conversation we had when the receipt was issued. The judge actually fell for this absurdity and sided with Feinberg. He committed criminal misuse and abuse of the legal process and court system for criminal harassment and malicious retribution when he filed 2 court cases against me with no evidence. He advised his clients to continue their criminal malicious harassment of me by filing a 4th pay or quit notice the very day after my court victory, resulting in a 2nd eviction suit against me concerning the very same issues they couldn't prove in their first lawsuit. And he very possibly advised Moss and Company to illegally hire a collection agency to continue their criminal harassment of me and my now 83-year-old parents, even after I vacated the apartment and complied with a court-recognized stipulation and judgment agreement. The collection agency, Genesis Credit and Management, told my mom Moss and Company hired them. Feinberg, an officer of the court, is guilty of abuse of courts for criminal harassment and retribution, obstruction of justice, and the covering up of the state crimes of lease violation, fraud, extortion, and theft, and the federal crimes of fraud, extortion, and theft across state lines, and bank fraud and money laundering. Feinberg corruptly behaved as though it was his duty to cover up and protect the crimes of his client. Instead of defending them based on the truth, he did so based upon lies. You always want a justice system where people defend their actions with the truth, not lies. As officers of the court, by law, it's the job of any attorney to see to it his client follows the law, not profit from breaking the law. But wait, guess what? This story still isn't over. I'll conclude it in the next video called Equalism 110E. Please share this video series with as many equalists as you can. Thanks.